so much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's so amazing to have you join us.
Thank you.
Claire and I have been looking forward to this one, and it's going to be exciting, hopefully, to learn a bit more about you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe talk about a few things that some of the fans that you have and people that follow you might not necessarily know, and it's going to be interesting. So throughout, we want you to be super comfortable. We want you to be nice and relaxed, and above all, I want you to have fun.
Okay, cool.
And that's the main thing with it. So I'd love to know a little bit about how you got to know the amazing Claire and how it all came about, because I think that would be amazing.
Jacket, literally.
So
our lovely friend as well.
I've got a best friend who's a hairdresser.
Yeah.
She did my hair today, and she's called Faye Brown.
Yeah.
And she just invited me over when she was doing Claire's hair. One day was meant to do your hair.
Yeah.
And we just made friends and shared a lot of mutual things in common, and
that was it.
Thoughts and stuff. And she showed me her fluffy jacket. Next minute, I was choosing a few and walking away with some.
Do you know what? I did something earlier when no one was around.
You put on a jacket, didn't you?
No, I didn't put one on. But I was like, what are these made of? And I was looking around to make sure no one was there. And I was like, they're amazing, aren't they?
So, well, you know how much this means to me, and how proud I am that you're doing this. So today we are talking about grief, which is something you and myself have both had experience with, and I think we felt we wanted to bring this part in to raise a bit more awareness about how grief can affect mental health, but also more of the kind of reality of grief, and to help people better understand people going through grief, because I think people feel they're uncomfortable because they don't know how to approach it.
Totally,
to talk to someone that's been through it, it's really a kind of a hard thing.
It's that thing as well, when you said it to me, which is something I've never thought about, is that grief still seems to be the kind of thing that is expected to pass over a period of time.
Yeah, never goes away.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
Are you happy sharing about your grief and where that stemmed from? Is that okay?
So my mum was, when I was 17, my mum, she had a heart attack which caused a stroke, and so that left her disabled. I watched her die for 8 minutes, and then she came back to life. The paramedics got her back to life, and then she was left disabled for the rest of her life.
Right.
So I was her carer most of the time, and then she had a few carers a few times a day, and so she was left paralysed in a wheelchair. And she lost her motivation, her self-love, everything.
Yeah.
She's a different person, really.
This is when you were 17?
Yeah, when I was 17.
Wow, okay.
So you had to be strong. Me and my dad would watch her and try and take care of her as much as we could. It was hard to give her motivation.
Yeah.
And then my dad was an older parent. They were both older.
Okay.
And my dad, when he was 80 years old, he was, growing up, and he became sick. He got diagnosed with cancer, and he was the rock of the family. And then he, had his issues with cancer, and so he couldn't make it any longer, and he eventually lost him. So me and my mum lost him, and it was my first real grief. Obviously, I lost grandparents, when I was younger, but my first real big loss.
I can relate to that.
And so it was really difficult at the time. We were both struggling, me and my mum. And then 7 months later, my mum's always been ill, but she had a stomach infection.
Okay.
And I had work in the States and had to go away. I said, Mum, I've got to go. I'm sorry I have to leave, but I've got work. You had to work when you were younger. She's like, I don't want you to go. I'll miss you. And I said, I'll be back. Don't worry about it. And so I had to go away for work. And on the 11th, the day of my job, the day I got a call in the morning about that she had passed away, and it was so shocking to me. I would never have imagined
and
it
being
would have
that
happened.
far away as well.
Yeah, and I tried to call her when I was away, and it was past her bedtime, so she didn't answer before it happened and stuff. So it was just so heartbreaking, and so I couldn't really believe it on the day of my job, and obviously I wanted to continue working on that day because I didn't want to let my parents down. So I did the job. And
do you think there was an element of shock into that?
Out
of that not knowing what else to do, and it's kind of.
I had a friend with me, lucky enough, my best friend and the manager.
Okay.
And I'm glad she was there but it was just like really, just didn't feel real.
Like you're completely disengaged from it. I've said this, and it goes without saying. Obviously, I'm sorry to hear. You know, it is life, but it doesn't make it easier when people say it. And I am sorry, and to hear that, and to think, you know, at 17. But as Claire said, I think what's so key is something that at some point will affect everyone, has such big ramifications on your mental health and your well-being. And it's so it's 7 months.
Yeah, within 7 months. But I do feel like I've been reading a lot of spiritual books about like journey of souls. I've got a spiritual healer who's helped me through the whole process. I met him before both my parents passed. He's like a fatherly figure to me. And even in the books it says like people have got spirit guides and stuff, and we all get like, they all choose our spirit guides are meant to choose our parents, like they're very specifically picked for us. And I feel like I haven't got given anything that I can't take on. So I feel very strongly that I'm an old soul. I believe that I can put up with this. And I got given this body with the parents that I had for a reason. So I can act okay with everything that's happened to me, because I feel like I've had a lot of lives and I'm strong enough to deal with it. And I was really the carer for my parents. So like when I lost them, I was already set. You know.
Did you? Sorry, I know because you've had this as well, the bereavement, and I think it's the grief that. Were you always this strong as you sound now, which is so amazing, and I'm in awe, if I'm honest. And I know when I spoke to you, but for you know, I'm nudging 40, and to
I've spoken to so many friends who were like, you know, if my parents died, I don't know what I would do. Literally, I wouldn't be here. And like, yes, you would. You'd have to be here and strong for them. Like, you know. And they're literally like, no, I couldn't do it. I'm like, look, I'm living proof. You can do it.
Did you think that way before?
That's what I think it is, isn't it? You think you'll never get through these things.
Yeah, before my mum had the heart attack, which caused a stroke, and I watched her pass, like, before, I always thought she was my best friend. I could never deal with, like, losing my mum. And I got, like, it was like a test run, really, seeing her die and then come back to life. It was like, okay, like, I'm really grateful she's here. And it was just.
Did you? Sorry, did you go on a? I am fascinated. I'm one of those people. So my mum to me is speak every day, an amusement of most people. But she's my rock, and actually, in front of when I make any decision, I have to get the stamp of approval from mum. It's like
Did you check?
I'm rogue at the moment. You don't know, but I have to check, and I think. That moment when it, you know, you were in America, did you said about the test run, do you think subconsciously that had prepped you, giving you that bolt to go, right, actually this is a very real thing that's going to happen, my spiritual guide, I'm feeling this connectivity, I'm at peace with it when it does? Or
I mean, initially when it happened to my dad, I kind of had another test run with that, and I was okay. Like, you know, I've always thought my dad's older, so if anything happens, you know, it's very, very unfortunate, but he can't be around forever. So, I kind of like went away. I went to a spa in Ibiza, and I had some downtime, and had to like go to the funeral for that. And when my mum passed, it was really shocking for me, but also knew she wasn't well. And then I went to the same spa after that happened, and then I had to prep. Like, it was my turn to prep for her funeral. For my half-sister, I've got two half-sisters.
I was going to say you
so one half-sister from my mum's side, one half-sister from my dad's side, and so it was my turn to fully prep for my mum's, and that was really hard work. So I was like, oh God, the ball's in my court, like I've lost two parents, this is just too much.
It's overwhelming the amount that you have to organise, and I think that's how our bodies do go into shock. Because I don't think there's any way you could get through like the funeral, the preparation, all that stuff, if you could feel all them emotions at once. And I think it is.
And also being in the public eye, like, you announce things, but you know what? One thing that gave me comfort on the day of my shoot, of the day that I had to do it, when my mum passed, I saw on the shoot location there was two birds, and I felt they were watching me, and I felt that was mum and dad. So my dad always said that his dad was a robin when he passed, and it was weird because before my mum before it happened that she passed away, I went to go to the gym one day with my friends, and a little robin was in my hallway, and I was like, how could this bird have came in? and it was like the little signs. It was literally like my dad was warning me what was going to happen.
Do you know, I hear a lot. I hear a lot of it in the journeys that I go on, the people I talk to, a lot of stuff about birds. Like obviously, what my organisation is Hummingbird, and I think we were here somewhere today, and someone was like, "There's just seen a hummingbird, and there's loads." And we have a little robin in my garden. It looks so scruffy. It looks like it's been through life, and it would just sit there. And there was a guy I was talking to about recovery, and he was saying that he was in this room and this bird flew in. And whilst everyone else was going crazy, he was just looking at it like, that's me. That's me and that bird there.
Yeah, I love birds so much. I see them all the time. So on that day, I saw 2 lovebirds, and I was like, they've connected again. They have, yeah.
See, that's very beautiful that you have these beliefs, because I think that's carried you. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I was drawn to the most with you, is that...
Yeah. When I was here with you, I saw a dragonfly.
Oh yeah, we were Googling, weren't we? We were trying to work out what it was.
It was a blue wasp.
Yeah, that's it, wasn't it?
But I've seen dragonflies in the past. I went back to my parents' house, and it's quite a sad time for me to go back there. We recently went back. Now, I always dread it. And I went there and looked in the garden, and there was this big, massive dragonfly. It looked actually surreal. It was massive. I've never seen anything like it. And I googled it straight away, like spiritual meaning, and everything ties into what I'm dealing with. So I like to think if anyone's going through grief and they see any like little signs, just
take that. But that's lovely.
To
kind of trust in that and get comfort from it.
Yeah,
because it's not,
everything's connected. We're all interconnected. There's things we can't see with our human eyes, like people who've lost come through to us in dreams. And things we can sense and feel. You know, like if I ever thought, like one time I said to my dad in my head, "Dad, where's the key to the safe?" Yeah. And he literally directed me straight to it, and I would never have known. Yeah. So it's just about trusting it. And
don't trust me with keys, though.
Do you talk to your parents a lot?
Yeah, I pray to them a lot. I pray a lot, and I was talking to you about numerology. Synchronicity. I always see the numbers 1111, 444, 333. And I won't look at my phone for like a long time, and I'll look at my phone, and then it'll be like, it's 11:11. I have to make a prayer. Yeah.
Because you pray to God, don't you?
Yeah, pray to God, pray to my ancestors, my spirit guides, my angels, all in one. Yeah.
I think that's amazing, and I think that
good to have faith.
That's literally what I was going to say. Yeah. I think we all need, and especially in times like that, to have that thing. And whatever that is with other people, whatever that feels like to them, I think it's so important.
Yeah, there's no way of...
Because grief is raw, and it comes with many emotions. And even if you're expecting it, even if it's something you know is going to happen, it's still... the pain is horrific.
Because I guess a lot of people, and you can have links back to trauma, where people aren't dealing with death appropriately,
or triggers, so hear a song or things
and
like
they think
that,
they're just gone forever, and they're not. Yeah, like it's a horrible thing to think. Okay, they're gone now, and it's gone. They're not. Literally, energy never dies. That's what I believe.
And I think that's so important, because that feeling of they're gone now is awful. That kind of like
they're not. They're not. And people can lose people through unfortunate accidents, and imagine losing you've married someone and you've lost your baby dad, and just like, I can imagine it's just so tough. But I think everything happens in divine timing and the way it's meant to happen. Yeah. So even though it's a big loss, like, it awakens something within you for your journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think grief shatters you for you to rebuild yourself.
Yeah. And it's their timing to go.
Was a result of my first experience with grief. I can literally flip my whole world upside down as a result of that. And I never thought that I'd experienced something like that ever.
And it's that journey. And we've spoken a few times during filming these about the jigsaw puzzles coming together. And I guess it's true. In order for a new piece to come in, there's got to be movement and slip and things to happen.
It's meant to go, literally.
Do you feel that they, I guess I already know the answer to this, but the guidance that they give you in what you're doing now, extremely successful model, doing very, very well at such a young age. Do you feel that they're still, whether that be in the lovebirds or how it is, that they're constantly by your side and guiding you?
Definitely. All the time I have dreams about them. And
really?
Yeah, but a spiritual healer helps me a lot, and I've been able to connect with my dad in the spiritual realm through like meditation and stuff. So it's just, yeah, it's really nice to think about.
I bet they're proud.
Yeah, he always tells me that. I've spoken to psychics because I'm into that. After they'd passed away, which I heard my mum did when her parents passed away, she went to some mediums, and obviously it's good if you go to the right one.
Yeah.
So my spiritual healer recommended one, and I've spoken to her, and she knew like things that no one else knew.
Yeah.
And so much. And then she talked about my mom and things, like she literally channeled my mom through her, and it was just amazing to know that, you know, she's there and she's got something to say.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to someone? Because there will be people watching this who are either maybe preparing, because we mentioned about know it's going to happen, or have just gone through a loss of someone they love. What would you kind of, and this isn't a one size fits all, we talk about this all the time, but what if there was something that maybe as a suggestion to say, you know, it's worth a try, what would you say? Is it spirituality, or is there something else that you would say?
I recommend a few good books. There's a book's called In God's Presence, if you're a believer.
Yeah.
But actually, that book, In God's Presence and Conversations with God.
Okay.
Conversations with God, for someone who's not really religious in something, you can have faith in knowing there's, you know, the universe.
Yeah.
There's some power behind it. So like a lot of people who aren't religious could read that book, and it gives them some sense of faith. I would just say reading is good, looking at videos like this. You know, if you don't believe in God, pray to the universe, pray to the people before you, pray to your ancestors. Just have a bit of faith and just know that everything's connected and nothing ever dies.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Because I've got to be honest, my experience was grief was beyond, like, it felt so raw, and I felt
Teddy's featuring.
Teddy's
I'm going to it up
featuring
on the mic, sorry.
And I felt that I couldn't, I guess it's almost like a stubbornness of, like, so you're saying about how having that belief and accepting these signs, that's such more of a positive thing to do than that feeling of it's gone, it's an end, it's a
final.
Yeah.
And no one ever said that to me when I was going through grief. I think that alone would have been really helpful, to not view it as that gone. I mean, what an awful way to feel.
Yeah. The book that I really recommend right now is Journey of Souls, and literally this doctor speaks to so many. He goes into hypnosis with people, and they talk about their experience when they go up to the heavens or the other dimension, and literally he talks to them, and it's just like mind blowing, and I really recommend that.
What's that one called? Sorry.
I think it's Journey of Souls. I need to get the author's name.
We'll find it. And
we'll make sure we get it up as well when this goes out.
It's actually incredible. That's the number one I recommend.
Amazing.
I think that's something when you said then about it being gone, and I think if I could say this when I hear you talk, is you don't think of them as gone, do you? You don't have that mindset, and I wonder if that's what's put you in the stead, and you know, whilst they're physically
now
not
they
here.
can watch me. As my mum was sick before, and she was always tied down to the house. She could never go out. I wish she could see me doing stuff. I would tell her about the things I'm doing, and she couldn't see it. And now I feel like she's with me and watching it. And so is my dad. So that's the beauty of it, and that's what gives me hope. That's what gives me happiness. And
hope's a key thing. Hope is the biggest thing. Again, when we talk about mental illness, is often the first thing that someone loses is their hope. The hope for the future, the hope for the next step. And having hope is just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you can always speak to them. Like, you know, I've got a little altar at home. I've got crystals. I've got I can light candles, sage, get myself in a nice state, and then I can pray to them. And it's nice to actually talk to them because they want to hear you, and you're not really in your day to day. If you're not really speaking to them, they can't listen to you. So it's good to just be like, I'm okay, I'm doing fine.
And cry to them when you need to, or laugh at them when you need to.
The first prayer I ever had was just like, I really let it go, and I felt like I really needed to. And I felt like they needed that as well. They're waiting, because imagine if you pass on and you see your child or whoever you love in distress, you're literally looking at them and they're heartbroken, and all you want to do is talk to them, but you can't. So it's really nice if we have lost someone to actually just give them a second and talk to them. Yeah,
I love that. I think when one of the first conversations we met, we said about, you know, when the days when it is overwhelming, you are sad about it, but you talk to them. And that's another positive thing to do, rather than what I'm guilty of is, I'm going to put the song on that was played at the funeral, and it's going to trigger all this.
I mean, stress. I've done that.
But what I mean is that's such a more of a positive way to do it, because we are our worst enemies in a lot of ways by knowing that that's going to make me feel awful, or I could do something like you've done, and that's lovely.
Amazing.
That feels nice, and that's a nice way to look at it. And I've never, until I spoke to you, I'd never actually looked at grief the way you do. I went through all the, I guess what they call the kind of textbook stages of grief, and I couldn't see a way out of it. You know, time, when they say time is a healer, it's like, it is, but it's always with you. And like you said, it changes you, but then it changes you for what you can use as a positive, a rebirth, a time to grow, and it fills you up with something that no one can experience unless you've been through it.
And I guess I wonder if people, when the phrase "time is a healer," if someone spoke about medication when you're depressed, if you assume that meds will make you better on their own, you often don't get to that point. And in the same way, if you assume that time will make you better on its way, you're probably not putting in the grieving. You're not taking your meds from a grieving perspective. And it's all about recognising that. And I love what you're saying now. I'm reflecting now about being a parent and your parents not wanting it. And I think about my two kids, and like I wouldn't for a second want them to shed a tear. You know, you'd be like,
exactly.
No,
you were trying. You would be up there crying a lot because they're upset. Like my mum didn't want to pass away. She wanted to watch me have kids, get married. She didn't want that. Like even before she passed, she was like, I'm not going anywhere. And so that's probably was the hardest thing for her. Is like, okay, this is your next chapter.
No eyes water.
I know. And I think it's like how you talk about it as well. You're so
honestly,
oblivious to how amazing it is that you have the way you talk about it. And like, because this isn't a normal experience that most people go through. That's what I said to you as well, that what you deal with, because what kind of we spoke about before is how people, I think, with being, you know, obviously a kind of a, you know, celebrity, public figure, there's a human here. There's a human that's going through all of this, the emotions and things, but more so like one that we can all learn from.
I know. Got me in tears.
Honestly, I've not looked at grief like you do, and I think that
I don't think I ever have.
I've only ever looked at it as
this is something I can be a vessel for.
Well, this is what I mean.
That's what I feel like I am with everything I've gone through, like everything in my life. I feel like now I can be in a good place to talk about it, and I always wanted to talk about it the right way. And I always was passionate about it. So when I met you, I was like, okay, I would really love to get my voice out there. But I wanted to during like quarantine and lockdown, but I didn't know how to start. You know, it's not like it's amazing to connect with you two, and you've got different perspectives, so we can all collaborate together and just get it out there and what is best to be said about it and how I feel and how you feel. And how you feel.
I think it's, you know, people will only have seen a side to you, and that's, I mean, no disrespect by that. People only see the side to me that they see of me, and I think it's we all too quickly as humans forget. You know, there's so many different angles to people. And like you said, some people say, well, of course you've got a platform to put your voice out there because you have access to media. But actually, that it isn't as simple as that. As you said, there's a lot of hurdles for people to overcome. I think it's really refreshing, and I'm glad we could do this. Because it is really, really important to be able to. You know, you'll help a lot of people.
I know.
That's all I want to do, really. Like after all the things have gone through me, if I can help one person, two people, or like more than that, that's brilliant. And I just want to keep doing that.
Demi, you should write a book.
But like really, I get told this a lot.
Because the approach that you brought is not something that I've. And that's what drew me to the thinking.
I'm gonna keep educating myself more and more about this kind of thing, and like. Going further and deeper into my spirituality, so I can just like give a bit of that to everyone else. So we'll do that eventually.
Yeah, you will.
I'm absolutely.
I don't even know.
I know. I think we're probably going to, before I'm in floods of tears.
Yeah, before Ian cries.
It's an emotional roller coaster. I want to say thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing us to have a conversation with you that might be slightly different from the other ones that you have.
Yeah.
You've taught me something in the last 20 minutes, so thank you
I
very
know.
much.
Thank you so much. I'm glad.
Demi, you're amazing. I'm so proud of you
amazing.
for using your voice like this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.